Hey, everybody. This is Doug Robertson of soccerwithdoug.substack.com. I've got a special podcast for you today. We're going to be joined by Jason Daly of the WorldCupGuide.com. It's a website he put together a few years ago to help people travel to World Cup matches that includes tips for tickets, for housing, how to get around, things to do. I think this will be valuable for those of us in Atlanta who might be going to Los Angeles and Seattle to watch the U.S. men, or for international travelers coming to Atlanta for the World Cup. We're going to get right to the interview with Jason. Again, it's the worldcupguide.com, and I'm Doug Robertson of soccerwithdoug.substack.com. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Okay, I'm really excited to welcome Jason Daly to the show. He and some friends have the worldcupguide.com, a site for travelers who are going to all the World Cups for the past however many years. He's going to tell us all about that. But I'm particularly excited about it because a lot of you in Atlanta may be going to the West Coast for the U.S. games, and a lot of international travelers may be coming to Atlanta for the 8 matches that the city and Mercedes-Benz Stadium will host. Jason, tell everybody how this kind of came about.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Doug. Excited to be here. Yeah, the World Cup guide it happened very organically. It's been a passion project that's just kind of evolved since I was just a young kid from '94. Just infected with the game and the love for international sports, and just the World Cup became a highlight of mine as they passed on. And when I was older, I kept saying, man, what a dream it would be to go to a World Cup, and had a great friend, mentor, former assistant coach that taught me, hey, dreams can be achieved. You just have to set paths to get there. Why don't you start planning? And if you make it, I'll go to 2006 with you. And so, yeah, it was like a 5-year effort, but 2006 came, and me and him and one of his friends went to Germany, had absolutely no idea what to do, what was going on, up at 3 a.m. trying to find tickets, and quickly thought, we had a great time. I absolutely loved it, but thought, man, I bet there's some things I didn't know going into that World Cup that I could have done a lot better. And once 2010 came around, I was absolutely in. I went by myself, which was a great adventure. I highly recommend anyone traveling to travel by themselves. I think it really forces you in to grow as a person.
Hmm.
And South Africa is one way to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and I prepped, I was ready, and I got all the tickets that I wanted. My trip was incredible. It was amazing. People started asking me how I did it. And from there, as other World Cups came around, everyone kept asking, Jason, how do I do this? How did the tickets work? And I just found myself answering the same questions over and over. And I work in technology. I've always been in tech, and I wanted just to explore some of the new tech, which is, early 2010. So
Right.
how to build a website, how to go about it. And yeah, just started building it for my own research and just to share links so people didn't have to ask me the same question over and over. And it's grown from there quickly.
Again, that's the worldcupguide.com. It's a really unique, interesting site. I've spent a lot of time looking at it. I'm not going to Los Angeles, but I know some of you might be. So I would really encourage you to take a look at it. So you started the website exactly in what year was it?
2017 was the year the website went live. Um, and I was trying to prep for Russia 2018, another tournament I went to by myself. Had no idea what I was doing, kind of fumbled through it, and I was getting excited when I would see 10 people from random countries across the world visiting. I started getting emails from people. I thought it was crazy. And then in 2020, once the pandemic came around, I put some real effort into redesigning and putting together a structure, and just I had learned a lot over the past few years.
Hmm.
And that's really the site that people are used to seeing now. And so 2020 hit the ground running. 2021 came and immediately was getting 30, 40,000 people a month. And as the tournament picked up, I was floored to be getting 150,000 a month visiting the site, and just been carrying it around since. I love just meeting with people and talking to them from all around the world.
So tell people what they can find on your site.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, most of the site, it kind of tracks really green evergreen content. So, in off years, a lot of times the most popular things that people find are how do World Cup tickets work. It's really, now that I've done a few tournaments, there's historical context so people can kind of compare and contrast what's new. That's really a lot of wealth just in that information
Hmm.
alone. As the tournament progresses, I tell people, hey, I'm not a journalist. I'm not out there on the front lines. I'll never pretend to be. But what I try to do is curate the really important information on the site. So people find FanFest, where are the teams staying, any really pertinent information. I'll break out, typical frequently asked questions about what you can and cannot bring into a stadium.
Hmm.
Some tips on if you're going to a game, you might want to take into account the security perimeters FIFA put around the stadium, just logistical type information like that. And yeah, I just try to keep it up to date so that way, everybody's out there spewing all relevant content and all recent news, but I've always found it really hard to find just where can I go for one place to get all my information.
Right.
And so that's what I try to be is, hey, I'll be your hub so you can always come back and I'm always linking out to the articles that I find and just try to be that central hub that people can find. And, I try my best to find only confirmed sources. So
Right.
I'm much slower than other people will be to just announce any hot news that's out there because I try to make sure it's true.
But it's deep research. I mean, you had a thing when I was looking, I think it was last week, about university housing
Yeah.
for people that they could consider looking into because the costs, as you know, during a World Cup are going to be pretty severe for Airbnb, for hotels, things like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's great. It always gets really, really busy the like 4 to 6 months before a tournament for me. I have people reaching out to me all all with crazy ideas. Some are just trying to make money, others are actually trying to help. And the research that you're referencing is a group called CSM Travel out of Canada. And they've been working with the Voyagers to try to come up with solutions for the games in Vancouver and Toronto for Canada
Mhm.
as group games. And the hotels were just getting astronomical in those areas, especially Vancouver. And so these guys utilize their relationships with local universities to say, hey, you've got dorms and apartments sitting available. We've got a whole group of people that want to come in. This is a win-win situation for everyone. And they've started cold calling and reaching out to all universities and dorms and host cities and trying to put together the same pitch. And yeah, I just love seeing stuff like that. And as soon as I find it's relevant, we'll post it, let people do the research and figure it out for themselves from there.
Tell us your most interesting travel story, World Cup travel story.
Most interesting. There's so many. Um, I'll tell two quick ones.
Yeah.
Both involve me just arriving. And so the first one, if there's anyone that's like 25 or younger, they probably will have no idea what I'm talking about. But 2010, I'm going there. I don't have I just have a flip phone. There's not really much data on phones. It's super expensive. So in order to plan where I'm going, I print out MapQuest
Hmm.
directions from the airport.
Yeah.
But I had no idea how I was going to get there. I didn't plan that part. I figured I'll learn. I'll figure something out. And on the plane over, I sat next to a group of guys that were all traveling together, and we just clicked immediately. And so we were sitting in all the lines and everything, and they were just like, "Hey, how you gonna get to your spot?" And I'm just like, "I'm not sure yet. I think maybe I don't know, maybe I don't know what I was thinking." But the arrogance of someone in their early 20s. And they were like, "Hey, we rented a car. We'll drop you off." And so I was like, "Great, I have directions." And the flight landed at 8. I think it was like an hour and a half or so. We just happened to be staying within like a 15-minute drive, which is how it worked out. And one of the guys dropped off the other two, and once they dropped off, he's like, "Hey, I'll take you to your place." And it's getting close to midnight at this point.
Right.
And, I can't remember the exact street address, but let's just say we drive. I'm staying at a bed and breakfast, and we get in. I'm like, okay, this looks residential, but bed and breakfast. Um, Looking around, it looks dark. There's lights off. There's nothing welcoming about where we're going. And I'm like, hey, this is my place. He's like, great, I'll stay until they let you in. And I'm like, nah, head out. You're good. He's like, no, I'll stay. Fast forward, I was banging on the door, just screaming, let me in. I have a reservation. Finally, I'm just like, after 20 minutes, I'm like, I've got to call this place to tell them
Right.
I'm outside. It was like a $25 phone call for just a few minutes.
Ah,
And what I learned in my MapQuest directions, the classic, again, I don't know exact, but 123 Main Street East,
right.
I needed to be west. So I was on the
Ah,
complete opposite side
yeah.
of town. And thank God that guy stayed with me.
Oh,
I owe
wow.
him everything. Uh, so Chad, if you remember me and you, if you hear this, I'm still so grateful.
So, how many World Cup matches have you attended?
Oh my gosh. Let's see, 8, 3, 11, probably close to 20 over the times.
So, that's his bona fides right there. 20 World Cup matches. The man knows how to travel to World Cup games.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do make sure that the way I go about planning, which I don't know if you want to get into, I always think, getting over there is going to be very expensive. I try to use Sky Miles. I used to have a lot from previous jobs. And so I book my flights to say, I know I'm going in and out of this city, and then I want to visit from just a culture perspective, maybe these other cities.
Hmm.
And then I'll request tickets typically in the first round, and that's where it's easier to get tickets where you don't know the teams. And then from there, I try to get to a game if I can that I want to see.
So,
Um,
matches in Atlanta. What advice do you have for people who don't live in Atlanta?
Some people have I've had some people read through my site, the newsletter and interesting information, and it's funny because they're just like, "Are you from Atlanta?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "It's kind of obvious," but I speak the truth.
Right.
I think Atlanta is going to be the gem of the World Cup. I think it's a great city to host the tournament compared to others, and one of the biggest reasons is just the central location of all of the events that are happening. Um, we're both from here and grew up here, but the ability to have the stadium relatively close to downtown, MARTA feeding people in and out of really all the places that they really want to go to. The Fan Fest is going to be right there.
Hmm.
And then all, the Georgia Aquarium, Coca-Cola, the standard tourist events, but then incredible food, incredible bars. There's, bikes, scooters, um, just easy to get around. And that wasn't something you could say, just like 7 years ago.
Right.
So it's a lot of great development and just to me, I feel like one of the easiest cities just to land at the airport, never need a car to get to where you want to go and have a lot of fun, which I'm sure local people are saying you're absolutely insane, Jason. You live here. You absolutely need a car. But again, I'm focusing more on the midtown, downtown
Right. Yeah.
style visitors.
If you're visiting from another city, from another country, from another continent, Atlanta is very, very easy to do. You just get off the plane. The MARTA station is literally inside the airport terminal for $2.50, I think it is. You can ride right into downtown, Peachtree Center, Five Points, any of those stations there, and walk to your hotel or take a very cheap Uber to your hotel. And from downtown, it's no more than a 15-minute walk to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. From Midtown, it can be a 45 to 50-minute walk, or you can take a Lime bike, you can take a Bird bike, Uber, take MARTA again. It's easy peasy.
Yeah, and one of the best parts about it, if you're staying in that area, is, after a match, you might evacuate the stadium and leave, and the trains themselves are going to be packed. Right, that's just going to happen no matter where the World Cup is. I've experienced it myself, but I've been to World Cups where the city's planned really well. It's all about the metro lines and moving around. But you leave the stadium and there's not much around there. And so you don't really have a choice. You stand in that line for like an hour. But I love Atlanta because you can just walk out, start walking towards the city,
Right.
and you've got restaurants, bars,
Hmm.
just events, just different activities you can do. Just, if you don't need to get somewhere, you can just kind of casually stroll and find some other entertainment.
Yeah, it's easy. It's so easy. And it's not to brag on the city, not to sound like William Pate or Dan Corso too much, but it's a good city for it can be your hub. If you're a follower
Yeah,
of Spain, you could be in Atlanta. You can fly from Atlanta to Spain's other matches and back again. And it's so easy to get around because again, you can go from MARTA to your hotel, from your hotel back on MARTA to the airport, and off you go.
yeah, no, it's so true, and a lot of people will be connecting through here with the world's busiest airport. The number of times I talk to people, especially on these trips, where everybody's traveling for the same reason. You tell someone where they're from, they're like, "Never been outside the airport, but I've been through that airport
Right.
many times because
And I've
it
heard a lot of people
connector."
complain the airport's confusing. It's really just a straight line. It's just
Yeah,
you go in a straight line and then you get on the terminal or the walkway and you go. It's not that difficult. Just look at a map. It's easy peasy to get around. It's not at all where you gotta hop on different types of trains to get where you're going, like in Boston or some places like that. Um, so without, I don't want to give away too much of your information, but what's your best tip if you're a fan of the US and you want to go to Los Angeles or Seattle?
yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of different ways to answer that, especially depending on your age and your goals. But from like a generic perspective, if you've got tickets, good on you. Those are at a premium, and the price themselves is a premium for that first game. Um, but if you do go, there's U.S. Soccer themselves and American Outlaws, which is the one of the fan groups that are out there. They tend to throw parties, like kind of welcoming events that are around that are with kind of that around the U.S. game, celebrating it the night before. So I would encourage people if you're going out there for the U.S., there's nothing more fun than just going out there with other people from the same country celebrating the unity of your team playing a match. It's unmatched for a World Cup. There's really nothing like it. And so if I was going, which I'm not currently, to Los Angeles and Seattle, one of the first things I'd be looking for is probably the local American Outlaws chapter. Where are those guys going to be at?
Right.
Where's the U.S. Soccer? I think in Qatar they call it the fan headquarters. I went to that. Where's that going to be at? And that kind of helps you, even if you're not interested in that scene, it kind of gives you an idea though where there's going to be a concentration of
Right.
people that are really into the game and to the sports. And a lot of time those people at those parties, like that's our country's like hardcore fans. And so it's just fun to mingle with them and kind of get a different perspective than maybe you see going to local games here.
And the American Outlaws does have an Atlanta chapter. I believe it has a Facebook group. You can Google if you're interested in trying to reach out to them about their events. It's probably on a website somewhere. Um, I know some of the members, good people. So if you're not a member, feel free to reach out to them and inquire about how to join.
Yeah.
And Seattle is one of my favorite cities. I've been there many, many times covering Atlanta United in matches. It's just a fantastic place to go, particularly in the summertime. It's going to be beautiful there.
Oh yeah. That's my original plans for the summer, because every 4 years I save up and I go. So people have always asked, like, it's a home World Cup, what are you gonna do? And I feel privileged that I've always been able to save and go, and that's like a luxury for sure.
Mhm.
But my plan was to go to the Pacific Northwest, go to Seattle and Vancouver, spend time out in the wilderness with my young kids and wife, experience the World Cup, but then also get out, do some hiking around Mount Rainier and
Right. Vancouver's beautiful
beautiful
too.
landscape. Yeah, but not going to happen this year,
No,
unfortunately.
yeah, we're not going to get into all that.
Yeah.
Do you have a newsletter by chance that people could sign up for?
Yeah, I do. I do. If you go to the site, there's link that says, stay in touch or contact, and there's a newsletter that's there. And the way the site has evolved is the newsletter has turned into a monthly kind of soundbite of what's been going on for the last month for the World Cup. Um, eh, so the website is going to be more of your foundational, like here's key big information, but the newsletter will be, here's the latest on the fan fest of maybe a certain area or a local government that's looking for funding. I don't know, it's my newsletter, so whatever I find interesting, I post, and I typically try to have relevant information about the World Cup. Um, sum up the most common questions I got over the last month to answer for people. Then I'll have like a link where you can actually find jobs with FIFA, US Soccer, and the official hospitality partner. And then typically 3 to 5 fun little links or videos that are soccer related.
And what's the address for that?
The address for the newsletter is theworldcupguide.beehive, which is spelled BEE.HIIV.com. Or just go to the World Cup Guide, find contact or stay in touch, and then you'll see a link for the newsletter. And then most articles at the bottom will have a direct sign up as well for the newsletter.
And is
Uh,
it free?
it's free. Yeah, it's free. Yeah, I feel that sometimes that maybe I should charge, but I don't know. I just enjoy it so much that I just leave it all there for now.
And do y'all have any social media channels that people can follow?
Yes, on X. X is like I know there's a lot of battle back and forth between X and which one is everyone should go to, but X is just where I get all my information. I follow all journalists and everything, and so I'm pretty active there just to stay in touch with soccer from all over the world. I think it's the underscore. If you just search for the World Cup Guide, you'll find me easily. And then Instagram is the World Cup Guide as well. And I'll typically do mostly just quick little reels on how to navigate the FIFA system, or most of the time it comes from people frequently asked questions of like, "Oh, am I even at the right place?" And I'll point them there.
All right. I appreciate it, Jason. Thank you. I think I learned a lot. I think people are going to find this very helpful, and I hope a lot of you will go to the worldcupguide.com and peruse it, find some value, share it with your friends. I know a lot of you are going to the World Cup matches. Share it with your international friends who might be coming to Atlanta. And thank you very much, man. I very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. One last tip for everyone.
Yeah,
This is what I always stress the most. If you're used to going to the stadium that you're going to for events and think you have that memorized, please do not underestimate the security that FIFA
right.
has. They have that outer perimeter, and then they get into the game. I have heard so many horror stories of people spending all this money and time to get to the World Cup, and then they underestimate the logistics of actually getting in past traffic and everything else. So give yourself enough time.
That is a fantastic tip. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Um,
it's been a pleasure, Doug. I'm really glad we connected and
yeah,
look
me
forward to
too.
it.
Yeah, me too. And for y'all, I hope you'll subscribe to soccerwithdoug.substack.com. You can subscribe at soccerwithdoug.substack.com/subscribe. You can follow me on all the social media channels at Soccer with Doug. Jason, thank you again. TheWorldCupGuide.com. As
Awesome.
always, hug your loved ones, communicate with your loved ones. Let's take care of each other.